Hello, Internet. Andrew Potter back for an episode of Life of Pi by Yann Martel. Yann Martel. And guess who actually did something with his hair today? I had to actually get up super early today because I was out at a friend's house last night. Because last night was the release of Destiny 2, which I'm a huge fan of already. I got my little Cade figure. We got like a bunch of pre-order bonuses. We got like a little action figure of one of the characters, who's a cool robot guy, and we got little patches kind of things that for the 3 different races classes, because me, my best friend, and his girlfriend all play one of the different classes. I usually play the hunter, so I got a little hunter patch. It looks really cool. I might put on a jacket or something if I can figure out how to do that, or a jacket that I want to do that too. But yeah, so I was there, so I had to get up super early today because he had to get up for his like adult worky job thingy. And so I'm here. I have my hair done actually kind of decently well, which is great. I actually got sick, so when I go to class today, people are gonna be like, you did your hair, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I gave a shit today. But today we will be reading chapters 33, and I think I'm going to do 34 as well, even though I don't have tons of time, but that'll put us right at page 100, so yeah, I'm going to do it. That sold me. So pages 33 and 34, and then we'll be at page 100 out of, how many pages? Out of 354, so we'll be almost a third of the way through the book, that's kind of exciting. That's very exciting. We're a third of the way through the book and we still haven't met the tiger, I don't think. So let's do that. Chapter 33. And this is one of the italics chapters, by the way. He shows me family memorabilia. Wedding photos first. A Hindu wedding with Canada prominently on the edges. A younger him, a younger her. They went to Niagara Falls for their honeymoon. Had a lovely time. Smiles to prove it. We moved back in time. Photos from his student days at U of T with friends in front of St. Mike's, in his room, during Diwali on Jared Street, reading at St. Basil's. I've recently heard that Basil isn't the proper way to pronounce it. I think it's like Basil or something like that. So sorry I'm pronouncing that wrong and I know it. St. Basil's Church, dressed in a white gown, wearing another kind of white gown at a lab of the zoology department on graduation day. I smile every time, but his eyes tell another story. Photos from Brazil, with plenty of three-toed sloths in situ. With a turn of a page, we jump over the Pacific, and there is next to nothing. He tells me that the camera did click regularly on all the usual important occasions, but everything was lost. What little there is consists of what was assembled by Mamaji and mailed over after the events. There's a photo taken at the zoo during the visit of a VIP. In black and white, another world is revealed to me. The photo is crowded with people. A unionist cabinet minister is the focus of attention. There's a giraffe in the background. Near the edge of the group, I recognize a younger Mr. Adribarabazami. Mamaji? I ask, pointing. Yes, he says. There's a man next to the minister, with horn-rimmed glasses and hair very cleanly combed. He looks like a plausible Mr. Patel, face rounder than his son's. Is this your father, I ask? He shakes his head. I don't know who that is. There's a pause of a few seconds. He says, it's my father who took the picture. On the same page, there's another group shot, mostly of school children. He taps the photo. That's Richard Parker, he says. I'm amazed. I look closely, trying to extract personality from appearance. Unfortunately, it's black and white again and a little out of focus. A photo taken in better days, casually. Richard Parker is looking away. He doesn't even realize that his picture is being taken. The opposing page is entirely taken up by a color photo of the swimming pool of the Autobino ashram. It's a nice big outdoor pool with clear sparkling water, a clean blue bottom, and an attached diving pool. The next page features a photo of the front gate of Petit Seminaire School. An arch has the school's motto painted on it, Nil magnum nisi bonum, no greatness without goodness. Ooh, no greatness without goodness. Well, unfortunately, I think there's a clear distinction. For anyone who's watched the BBC series Sherlock knows kind of what I'm talking about. It's that I think greatness is your abilities, your skills, your that sort of thing, you know. For anyone, I'm sorry for anyone who doesn't understand literary comparisons, but it's the difference between Sherlock and Watson. Sherlock is a great man. He is very intelligent. He is very, good at what he does. He's very, smart, brilliant, logical, great detective. John Watson is a good man. He cares about people. He cares about, making sure the right thing is done. Where Sherlock cares about if the correct thing is done. That's basically the difference. So unfortunately, I disagree with Magnum nisi bonum. I think there can be greatness without goodness, and unfortunately, oftentimes there is greatness without goodness, and goodness without greatness. Unfortunately, a lot of good people are well-meaning and everything like that, but they don't have the abilities or the power to do the right thing. And that's it. An entire childhood memorialized in 4 nearly irrelevant photographs. He grows somber. The worst of it, he says, is that I can hardly remember what my mother looks like anymore. I can see her in my mind, but it's fleeting. As soon as I try to have a good look at her, she fades. It's the same with her voice. If I saw her again in the street, it would all come back, but that's not likely to happen. It's very sad not to remember what your mother looks like. He closes the book. Okay, so we're getting more now. There's something that happens, where was it? Across the Pacific. Yeah. So something happens across the Pacific, and that's maybe it's a shipwreck? Maybe it's a shipwreck, and he gets in one of the lifeboats with the tiger. That could be it. But this is clearly years later, so he couldn't have been very old. Yeah, so he wouldn't have been very old when he knew his mother, and that would explain why things are fading in a not incredibly old, but older age. Chapter 34. Father said, "We'll sail like Columbus." He was hoping to find India, I pointed out sullenly. We sold the zoo, lock, stock, and barrel, to a new country, a new life. Besides assuring our collection of a happy future, the transaction would pay for our immigration and leave us with a good sum to make a fresh start in Canada. Though now, when I think of it, the sum is laughable. How blinded we are by money. We could have sold our animals to zoos in India, but American zoos were willing to pay higher prices. CITES, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, had just come into effect, and the window on the trading of captured wild animals had slammed shut. The future of zoos would now lie with other zoos. The Pondicherry Zoo closed shop at just the right time. There was a scramble to buy our animals. The final buyers were a number of zoos, mainly the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, and the soon-to-open Minnesota Zoo. But odd animals were going to Los Angeles, Louisville, Oklahoma City, and Cincinnati. And 2 animals were being shipped to the Canada Zoo. That's how Ravi and I felt. We did not want to go. We did not want to live in a country of gale-force winds and minus 200-degree winters. Canada was not on the cricket map. Departure was made easier. As far as getting us used to the idea, by the time it took for all the pre-departure preparations, it took well over a year. I don't mean for us, I mean for the animals. Considering that animals dispense with clothes, footwear, linen, furniture, kitchenware, toiletries, that nationality means nothing to them. That they care not a jot for passports, money, employment prospects, schools, cost of housing, healthcare facilities. Considering, in short, their lightness of being, it's amazing how hard it is to move them. Moving a zoo is like moving a city. The paperwork was colossal. Liters of water used up the wetting of stamps. Dear Mr. So-and-so, written hundreds of times. Offers made, sighs heard, doubts expressed, haggling gone through, decisions sent higher up for approval, prices agreed upon, deals clinched, dotted lines signed, congratulations given, certificates of origin sought, certificates of health sought, export permits sought, import permits sought, quarantine regulations clarified, transportation organized, a fortune spent on phone calls. It's a joke in the zoo business, a weary joke, that the paperwork involved in trading a shrew weighs more than an elephant, that the paperwork involved in trading an elephant weighs more than a whale, and that you must never try to trade a whale. Never. There seemed to be a single file of nitpicking bureaucrats from Pondicherry to Minneapolis via Delhi and Washington, each with his form, his problem, his hesitation. Shipping the animal to the moon couldn't possibly have been more complicated. Father pulled nearly every hair off his head and came close to giving up on a number of occasions. There were surprises. Most of our birds and reptiles and our lemurs, rhinos, orangutans, mandrills, lion-tailed macaws, giraffes, anteaters, tigers, leopards, cheetahs, hyenas, zebras, Himalayan and sloth bears, Indian elephants, and Nilgiri tars, among others, were in demand. But others, Elfie for example, were met with silence. A cataract operation, Father shouted, waving the letter. They'll take her if we do a cataract operation on her right eye, on a hippopotamus. What next? Nose jobs on the rhinos? Some of our other animals were considered too common. The lions and baboons, for example. Father judiciously traded them for an extra orangutan from the Mysore Zoo and a chimpanzee from the Manila Zoo. As for Elfie, she lived out the rest of her days in the Trivandrum Zoo. One zoo asked for an authentic Brahmin cow for their children's zoo. Father walked out into the urban jungle of Pondicherry and bought a cow with dark wet eyes, a nice fat hump, and horns so straight and at such right angles to its head that it looked as if it had licked an electrical outlet. Father had its horns painted bright orange and the little plastic bells fitted to the tips for added authenticity. A deputation of 3 Americans came. I was very curious. I'd never seen real live Americans. They were pink, fat, friendly, very competent, and sweated profusely. They examined our animals. They put most of them to sleep and then applied stethoscopes to hearts, examined urine and feces, as if horoscopes, drew blood in syringes and analyzed it, fondled humps and bumps, tapped teeth, blinded eyes with flashlights, pinched skin, stroked and pulled hairs. Poor animals. They must have thought they were being drafted into the U.S. Army. We got big smiles from the Americans and bone-crushing handshakes. The result was that the animals, like us, got their working papers. They were future Yankees, and we, future Canucks. That is the end of that chapter. Again, as a military child, I would like to say that I totally understand where Ravi and Pi are coming from. It makes total sense when first moving, especially a first move. It's not something you want at all. It's not something you know. Your whole family is there. Your whole life is in that location. First time I moved, I was 5 years old, six years old. We had moved from, no, it would have been 5. I moved from, actually here where I'm at now, the exact house that I'm in now. I moved from there to Ontario, so not a very fun drive. Not a very fun move. And it was like my whole life was here. My everything I knew. I went to kindergarten here. My whole family lived here. Everything in my whole life was here. I didn't care that Ontario existed. It didn't exist to me in my own kind of way. So to me, it was this foreign country kind of thing. But I do like the idea that you get a bit of the parental side on it as well. Because at the time, thinking about it, I never did really consider, my parents' aspect on the move. Because for them, it was that they were the one who chose it to me kind of thing, where it's not really now. It's the government told, Dad, the military, we need you posted here kind of thing. So that's interesting that you get that, and the whole idea of, moving a zoo would be rather difficult. How do you just pick up and move a zoo? So that's interesting. And the idea that certain animals are worth more, certain ones are worth less. People would totally like the idea of having their own authentic Indian cow kind of thing. As Canadian, it'd be like if we were moving animals, or like if I was selling a zoo or something like that, I could definitely see some some other nationality being like, oh, we would love to have an actual Canadian beaver or moose or something like that. And it's like, alright, I guess I'll just go out to the, wherever and buy one. Yeah, that's really all I've got to say on that chapter. Not mind-blowing again. The first chapter, chapter 33 there, was more interesting to me, because it's like, oh, what happened? Why is there no photos here, kind of thing. The other chapter, chapter 34, is just familiar for me. It's just, oh yeah, I remember going through that same sort of thing. But that's all I really got to say about that. If there was anything in there that you wanted me to go into more details about, feel free to comment that below. And as always, please, if you'd like to, please give me a like and subscribe. If you want to tell me how I'm doing, and if you want to keep updated with this channel, this read through. I'm also currently doing another one right now called The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. Aaron Morgenstern is the author of that one, and it's interesting as well. It's kind of got a stronger mystery element, I'll say, than Life of Pi, whereas Life of Pi is more of a here are lessons, learn them kind of thing. The Night Circus is more what's going to happen, what's going on, what is this world I'm being introduced to. And it's a history piece, so if you want something more historical, then you have The Night Circus there. But that's all I've got to say about that, so have a good one.